Welcome to Reading the Comics, where every week we're doing a deep dive on the comic books that inspire your favorite movies and shows, seeing what's better, what's worse, and everything in between.
You promised us free Wi-Fi and healthcare. This sucks.
Hanging out in New York in the Marvel Universe would be awful if you didn't have powers, because you would just be waiting for destruction to rain down upon you.
For our first season, we're taking on Invincible. Today's episode, we've got sexy fish, violent betrayals, and much more. Stay tuned. Okay, that was it.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Emphasis on the sexy fish, because they're, I'm sure, going to take up a lot of our runtime on this podcast today. It might be one issue, but there's a lot
It's
to
all I
discuss.
That's mostly what I remember.
Yeah, we only have
Those
the
are
most
some damn sexy fish.
There's certainly not one of the biggest betrayals in all of comic book history in what we read today. It's mostly sexy fish, and then like 11 other issues.
I don't really care about anything else, but just just for our audience's sake, we'll start with the start.
I don't really want an audience that cares about anything else.
Yeah, actually, that's fair too. So yeah, this if you are following along, this is volumes 3 and 4, which include issues 9 through 20. So yeah, issue 9, we talked a tiny bit about it, but Alan saves the Star Trek crew. I like that we're getting a pull away over to Alan. I want to see as much Alan as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I found out that Alan was being voiced by Seth Rogen. I was so stoked about that. He does seem like he was kind of perfect casting, which also I don't think we talked about it much last episode, but the casting for Invincible is kind of impeccable, and also
it's so
is
good.
Like,
Oh, yes.
it seems like they have endless money, Amazon.
They've just
pay
backed up
whoever
the
they
dump
want.
truck. Yep.
That's always
Yeah.
something I see whenever people are bitching and moaning about the animation in some of the less important scenes. They're like, well, if we didn't cast Aaron Paul in smaller roles, then we could pay for more animators. I'm like, well, yeah, but Aaron Paul's really good in that role. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Who's Aaron Paul? I actually don't know.
I think it was last season. He was the shockwave guy, or like
Yep.
could absorb kinetic energy, right, and like blast it back.
So he'll be coming up for.
Yeah. A while from
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
That was season 4.
3.
Okay.
I can kind of imagine and hear a variety of voices whenever I'm reading through the comic that aren't always identical to the voice cast, but especially Omni-Man never doesn't sound like J.K. Simmons in my head. It is wild how I just hear his tone and his inflection, and even when the wording is a little bit different, it has that same gravitas to it.
Yeah, and also, just like for even just the smallest roles, they have like just really good actors. Zazie Beetz plays Amber.
Yep, and we get a lot more Amber stuff
Either you guys
in
watch
these volumes.
Atlanta?
Yes, love Atlanta.
We've been watching that here, and it just clicked for me again. I think I had already known it, but that kind of seems like somewhat of a throwaway character to have such a famous gal playing her. But she's great. It works.
Yeah, they definitely do that a lot. Like smaller roles are very recognizable people, but at the same time, like I really enjoyed Amber scenes. I mean, that's something we can get into. I enjoyed her and Mark's whole relationship quite a bit more than in the comics. I mean, and that's partially the writing. She gets way more time, but just her as a character, I feel like she does a really good job with her.
Yeah, she's really not doing much of anything in the comic books. Which I saw somebody complaining about how, you have to be very careful about race swaps whenever you're doing adaptations.
I think I saw the same post.
Amber had gotten like unintentionally put into a common trope for black women, which was basically like the throwaway girlfriend, the girlfriend that you get before you get the white girlfriend that you actually want. Luckily, it would have been even worse if they'd kept her basically the same as she is in the comic book. Like, at least they give her more character, more time, more discussion. She doesn't in the show feel, to me, very, like, throwaway, but she is does seem kind of throwaway.
Yeah.
Girlfriend in
Once
the
I
comics.
read that post, like looking back on it, I was like, I definitely see what they mean. I never got that impression upon watching it. But I can see what they mean, and I mean that is, like a trope you could, like, we would talk about it in like black film studies classes I'd taken in college and stuff like that. We like talked about that specific trope, and so I was like, that is fair. But you're right that they gave her, I think, so much more character depth that if it had been identical to the comics and they had just made her a black character and kept it the exact same, it would have leaned even more into that. But in the show, she feels way more like an actually important part of Mark's development throughout that initial season and everything.
In the comics, it often feels like Mark is constantly too busy for her, and you don't really get a lot of time with them together and to see what he loves about her or what he's enamored by. And in the show, you get.
Well, there's.
Go ahead.
Well, they don't give her anything for Mark to love her.
Yeah,
it's just that she's a girl that wants to be around him.
Yeah, I don't even. Do you like her?
Yeah.
You constantly seem kind of annoyed by her.
Yeah. Oh, and also this will be later, and of course this is already happening. We're kind of skipping around, but that's fine. Freaking William and Eve just laughing in her face.
Yep.
When she's like, I think something's going on with Mark. Like, I think he's a drug dealer. And it's like, you think that they're going to, like, navigate, because they seem so nervous about it. You think they're going to navigate that in some sort of, like, interesting way, or maybe, like, slightly careful sort of way. And that it might lead to her starting to piece things together. But they just, like, I just can't imagine. It goes to something else. It goes to another scene right after that. But, like, how did Amber react to them just laughing in her face? Like, she has such legitimate reason to believe that Mark is a drug dealer or that something terrible is going on.
I like the tryouts. I like everyone together and feeling like there's this big sea of like wannabe superheroes that make everything, like we kind of talked about last issue, feel so make the world feel bigger and more fleshed out. And Dino Girl is great, and she has a wonderful introduction. And anyone who puts Rex in their place is going to be good in my book. And seeing Rex get his shit rightfully kicked a little bit was a wonderful introduction.
Eve sees Invincible making out with Amber.
Yes. Yep. And that's about as much meaningful connection as we see between Mark and Amber. So I'm as shocked as she is, even though for different reasons.
And then we got the Immortal Resurrection, which I loved that. Like, just them not really being sure if it's going to work. And then he immediately flies off, and they're like, nope, didn't work.
Yeah, the Mahler twin storyline is something I really have mostly forgotten about, so I'm very excited to revisit that as we go. And I do think of the heroes that were introduced, they chose the right one to resurrect. I think he had the most interesting early appearances in issue 7. Especially because I kind of forget where this storyline is going, it is certainly one of the ones I'm most excited to see play out.
I always really loved the Mahler twins in the show. I don't know why, but I find the "you're the clone, no, you're the clone" bit so funny. And yeah, I'm very excited to hang out with them a bit more in the comics. I don't know if they're showing up in a different order for me here. I can't remember if this was this issue or not, but the scene where he is fighting, is it Doc Seismic? I just see that after.
That's next.
Yes,
that's
that
the
is
next
the next
issue.
one.
Oh, okay. I only bring that up because I remember last episode we were talking about how some of Mark's heroing has sort of a different tone to it, and maybe like his reactions to applause and things like that. He's kind of like we were saying, a teenage boy might more accurately be, is very into, being applauded. And I felt like this like that conversation popped into my head when I was reading this, because he's just very much like, oh, this is sweet, like they
Yeah,
love me.
I've got it written in my notes to bring up my point there again, which he just he dies. Like Seismic or like likely dies in the comic. Like he like falls down that crevice, and Mark is just happy to get the praise immediately
Hmm.
after. Like he doesn't seem to give a shit that Seismic probably died when he goes at great lengths to save him in the show, if I remember
Hmm.
correctly. Like he makes him live. And then yeah, I remembered what specifically had clued me off to thinking that Mark was kind of a douchebag. He watches his classmate get blown up in the like second volume or first
Oh
volume.
yeah.
Omni Man chucks him into the sky and he explodes, and immediately Mark is just like onto some other shit, like doesn't care at all. And so yeah, it seems like Mark is very laissez-faire about death.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to really care.
Which
Um,
I'm so curious how that's going to develop. Because in the later portions of the show, it's a huge like internal dilemma that he goes through of is killing okay. So I'm curious to see how, as we get to the points where the show is, like, does he start caring about it, and then I don't know.
Comic
I'm
books
very curious to
constantly
see.
kind of play this thing where like they care under very certain circumstances about
Mm.
death, and like you watch Batman put like 9 poor people in the hospital, but then he like won't kill the Joker. um
It's yes. Every character has
and
varying lines, and I think typically comics will choose its most powerful characters who would have the most capability to murder as the ones who do it less, because that uses the inherent theme of power that is inherent in almost every superhero story, and makes it immediately a little morbid and fucked up. So normally, in Marvel and DC, I think you see a lot of your more ground level hero, your people with a bow and arrow or a stick or a gun, who have this kind of inner turmoil. And most of the time, unless it's kind of Punisher or a character who is more firmly established as a anti-hero, you're going to see them go through a lot of arcs where they murder for a while and then rear it up and feel bad and feel guilty until someone kills their wife or someone in their life, and now they're all back to killing again.
like Spider-Man like never seems to give a shit about killing aliens. Like
Yes,
it's like
species
if
life distinction seems very arbitrary to a lot of superheroes for sure.
yeah, it's like are they seem like as sentient and as conscious as any
Nah, they were
humans.
green.
Weird.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, weird and gross, and they were
Mm.
attacking. I'm killing them.
Squish them like bugs. Squish them like bugs.
The also in issue 10, you've got Nolan trying to talk to Mark. He's like trying to bring it up
Mm.
before what ends up happening happens. Yeah, well, I guess that's in this issue too. So we'll just say it like Immortal coming back and immediately going for Nolan and trying to kill him.
Yes.
So you
I do like the
and
buildup
he was
of Nolan trying to talk himself into it. That was something that I don't
yeah
quite remember being as prevalent in the show, is feeling like there's this inherent like slight sadness or like worry about having this conversation. Um,
yeah
and you can tell, I think, even without a performance to attach to it, I think that there is a little bit more of a sadness to do this. And even when he ultimately will make the choices that he does during our big reveal, I think there is a tone of wishing he didn't have to do this that I thought added more depth to these comics. When I feel like typically it's the show that we talk about having that level of depth a little more etched into it.
I felt the same. Just like in all of his behavior since killing the Guardians of the Globe, I remember reading it much more as, or perceiving it when watching the show. Like I perceived his behavior as much more as just being kind of shifty, not wanting to get found out. And I couldn't quite like place exactly why, but for some reason in the comics, like the way he's just very curt with Debbie and some other little interactions like that, it felt a little bit more like you're saying, like he was actually sad, or I mean, I wouldn't say guilty at this point, but maybe some guilt due to like having to bring Mark into this and to having to cut off his relationship with Debbie. But in the show, it felt way more like he just didn't want to be found out.
I think here in the comics, it strikes me more as duty, where in the show, it often strikes me as a more personally held belief. Which,
Yeah.
yeah, which I know we're talking kind of around what the big subject of this is.
Which, yeah, let's get into it, because I mean that is the next issue is pretty much just Nolan explaining, Omni-Man explaining to his son that he is not in fact Superman. He is not here to protect the world. He is here to take it over. He comes from a planet of dominators, oppressors, colonizers, and like that is their sole mission. They made what they considered a utopia by killing all of the weak ones, and now they plan on controlling as much of the universe as possible. And he issue 11, after you see at the end of issue 10, you see him fighting and killing pretty viciously, which I might have a picture of. Yeah, I don't know if you guys see him chopping Immortal in half here. Absolutely brutal.
First he takes off the
falling.
First he takes off the head. Second he just rips him in half.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. So then Nolan is caught killing, a beloved superhero. Mark doesn't know what the hell is going on, and he's forced to finally come out with it and tell him that the whole plan all along was to take over Earth, and that he fully expects Mark to be in on that. He thinks that it, and like to me, that is one of the things I wrote here, that like it definitely feels like he went about it in a really stupid way. Like,
yeah, even if he had a conversation with him in the kitchen, like,
yeah,
like he had wanted to a few pages before, how are you going to convince someone of that? Like, well, it's an insane ask.
It's like, yes. He should have he should have been like grooming him for this ideology the whole time. Mm-hmm. Like he had him as a child. He could have been building in all of this kind of evil ideology from when he was like 5 years old, basically, and then Mark definitely would have been on Omni-Man's side.
And instead, there's been a lesson that we are here to protect, we are here to take care of. It's our job to make this planet the utopia that our home planet is, only to heel turn to, hey, actually, we're here to rule it all. This place is a piece of shit. You ready to take it over with me, son? And that is absolutely a hard sell in general, but it's even more of a hard sell when you catch Omni-Man with his pants around his ankles, ripping Immortal in half. That's certainly as
he's got the Immortals. He's got the Immortals pants around his ankles.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely.
He does. They will fall, won't they? Yeah, what's gonna keep him up if it's a onesie? You just imagine the immortal's body falling down and then his naked legs falling down. Swerve. Oh my god.
I think initially when I read that and maybe even saw it in the show, I don't quite remember, but definitely reading it, I was like, this is such a dumb way to go about it. But I've never looked at Nolan as being dumb or unintelligent. And so I wonder, just knowing some of the changes that Nolan goes through later on, in the show, and how the catalyst for his change of feelings was just he got so lost in the sauce of living on Earth and he really enjoyed being a human. If
Yeah.
it wasn't like an oversight that he didn't do that to Mark, maybe he just personally enjoyed living this little life with Debbie and Mark and almost couldn't bring himself to start telling this bright-eyed 5-year-old, like, we gotta kill your mom soon.
Yeah, and he mentions at some point in the issue that is largely exposition and explaining the heel turn, that it was Mark developing his powers that made him realize that, like, hey, things are different. It's time for things to change. I have come here. I have come here to have an offspring that will share my power set. And now that I know that has happened and I know that's here, I think he would say it's time to weaken the planet, but I also think there's a tinge of, if I don't do it now, am I ever going to do it? Like, this is what I've been waiting for. I might be nervous and pacing around my kitchen trying to figure out how to have this conversation, and also I just got to pull the ripcord off, because if it's not now, when is it?
Yeah, and I think that's very much to Doug's point too about how in the comic books it does seem like it's more a war within himself than in the show. It kind of feels like he just wants to do it, and like you said, Connor, it's a personal belief. Yeah, my only other note there for issue 11 was that he attacks Alan's planet. We find out that specifically one of the planets that got was Alan the alien, right? That's his name?
Yep.
And then my very first note for issue 12 is, damn, son.
That could encapsulate the whole issue. There's no question there.
Think, Mark, think.
Bro, love that that's in both of them, like you had said on the phone, Doug. It's so perfect, and definitely I had done the same thing that I've been talking about where I turned the show into the comic book. I was crossing my fingers hoping that it was also in the comic him holding him while the train passes through and he just explodes all of the citizens. I think that was a fantastic addition. I think Robert Kirkman, he's talked kind of throughout his career and at different points about things that he wanted to do that he couldn't do with Invincible when he was writing the comics. And part of what we're seeing in season 1 and these first volumes is a lot of restructuring. One thing specifically is, like, we end season 1 with this battle, and it's coming earlier in the comic books. I think that was something that he specifically wanted to do, but readers were losing interest in Invincible.
Yep.
And the sales were going down.
I had this in my notes
and
too.
He got he'd gotten some advice from somebody, and he was like, basically he was complaining. He was like, my comic book's going to be canceled before, like, the super cool reveal is going to happen. And he was like, put it in next issue. Like, you just got to put it in next issue. And that ended up being a saving grace for the comic book. But now he gets to revisit it and fix all of these little things. And that's got to be so cool as an artist that he's able to come back at this from a different lens and fix all of the problems that he's figured out over the course of like 2 decades, what the problems were. Really, really awesome. And it feels like pretty much on every level he's improving it. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some things that and we've already mentioned a couple things that aren't that, but
Yeah, I think
Yeah, and I
go ahead.
go ahead. You go
All
ahead.
right. I think structurally you see those differences in that the show has a lot of more episodic episodes in the middle of season one before it ends with this large Omni-Man reveal at the end of episode 7 and in episode 8. And a lot of the mission on Mars, crime group with Titan and Battle Beast, a lot of these things that feel a little more
yeah.
self-contained, that are not gigantic story reveals, but are cool world building things, you absolutely could see fitting in before this reveal, and it's just taking a little bit longer to get there. And I think season one builds the world very quickly in its first 2 episodes, and then includes some of those more episodic elements through in the middle of the show, and then ends with its strongest material, which it was this reveal. And reading that about how they were almost canceled, looking at doing an Adam Eve spin-off because they were just trying to keep the universe going somehow, and then moving up this reveal allowed them to keep going, makes me feel like the first season of the show is a little closer to the original intention of the orders in which those stories were told.
And I wonder if it kind of works for the audience better. I mean, obviously, season one ending with this scene just makes the most sense, but I wonder if the journey there felt better to us as an audience, because a lot of what we talked about last episode and some of what we mentioned here is that just generally a lot of the characters feel a little bit deeper in the show in these early stages, whether it's just because the medium can be a bit longer, we can spend more time with them, whatever the reasons may be. um I could see if I was reading the comics for the very first time, especially when I was younger, maybe by the point in the issue before this reveal happens, feeling a little, I don't know if bored is maybe the right word, but just not as interested. But going through the show that way with all the little episodic adventures that they go on before this huge reveal, and all the characters are, I would say, written better generally. It was more enjoyable, and I didn't lose interest at all.
I don't know,
Um,
Doug, if you remember
yeah.
in between season 1 and 2 of the show, a lot of how I reviewed season one was being like, well, those first 2 episodes were incredible. And then those last 2 episodes were wild. And then the middle, you have like 4 very solid,
Mhm.
serviceable superhero episodes. But like with everyone talking about how incredible and great this show was, I was like, half of it was
Mhm.
brilliant and half of it felt a little like what I'd expect from any superhero show. And I think rewatching those episodes, having read these issues, it's easy to appreciate them more because you have reverence for how they're choosing to adapt the story.
Mm.
But I don't think that necessarily fully changes my feeling in either medium that these are your more filler, episodic, one off stories that can be better or worse in their own right, but are a little less foundationally important to the story being told.
Yeah, totally. I think I, I agree with you. Like they're certainly not going to have you on the edge of your seat. That being said, I do think it plays very well into it having the juxtaposition of being this like classic, cute Saturday morning superhero show, combined with this sort of epic, hero's journey story of betrayal. I like the contrast. Not that you would generally hope that even the episodic episodes would have slightly more connection to the overall plot. Like that would be better. That would be cooler, almost certainly. But it's not necessarily completely a bad thing. Not that you were
Well,
saying that it
and
was,
and
but
and and I think with so few episodes per season, like with these long form, like hour-long 8-episode seasons, um, I think that hits a little more where you're like, "Man, I kinda wanna get back to the main thing going on."
Yeah. And
But if
I
it was, little Go ahead.
I would say I don't want to speak against episodic television because I miss my 23 episodes a year where some of it inherently has to be filler because we are telling one-off individual stories, and I think many of these more individual episodic stories are still interesting and solid. I think the
Mhm.
best of them involve Mark learning a lesson and growing as a person from a little bit more of that 17-year-old kid who just wants to prove that he can be a hero to himself and his dad, to someone who has their own set of like morals and has a code of integrity. But I don't think all of them necessarily have that. But I do think that is when the episodic, more contained stuff shines. It's because it allows Mark to grow, even if it's not going to connect to the next big story arc.
On the note of issue 12 and the giant battle and fight, that line, "You dad, I'd still have you," bruh,
Brutal.
And that's such good writing. Like, so far, that's got to be the best writing that Robert Kirkman has done in this. It is, man, if I wrote that line, like that setup of Nolan being like, "You'll have no one. Who will you have after 1,000 years?" And it's just, it's a perfect, it's a perfect reason for Nolan to be like, maybe fuck this for now. Like, I think I'm just gonna head out. And I don't think this happened in the show, but I could be wrong. Nolan crying, like tears fully streaming down his face as he's flying away from Earth. Did that happen in the show?
As I was rewatching it, I have memories of him as he leaves the atmosphere, all of the blood and gore burning off of him. But I have no memory of there being tears in the show.
Yeah, I don't remember the tears either.
Which certainly added to, what we were talking about earlier, this feeling that he's a little reluctant to have done this, even if he is duty bound and believes it's what he must do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then moving on to issue 13 here, they start that off with everyone finding out about Omni-Man and Invincible's fight, and it's just 2 pages of everybody being really sad with no words on it. I think that's just an awesome start to the issue. Super cinematic. I also love Cecil is in charge of guard instead of shield. We get more of the parody there.
I was going to say that I think it's nice that the first 3 pages of the issue are without words, because Cecil, or as I like to call him, the exposition dump as a man, shows up, and we get a lot of explanation and a whole lot of text, as Cecil is prone to do.
Yeah, these issues were way more dense than the last issues. Like, you had said, Connor, that it was just a breeze to read through them last time, and it's still a breeze. There's nothing like too crazy dense, but more so.
Yeah, noticeably more text, definitely.
Yeah, the
absolutely
reveal issue in issue 11 is a lot of explanation, a lot of text, and then you get to issue 12, which is just Mark being pummeled through buildings and through glaciers for 22 pages, and it's very few words, but it's very, very impactful. And then issue 13 jumps right back into like, all right, a few pages of like silent contemplation, and now off to what are the impact? How is this world bigger than you realize? How do we move forward from here? And in the show, Walter Goggins, and in here, Cecil is a very interesting, mysterious character who...
is that Walter Goggins?
Walter Goggins, yes. I think he's a very mysterious character that is very compelling as they explain anything and everything, often in more complicated ways that I know how to process, but I'll just keep reading. And like Mark, I will just pretend I know what he's saying.
I've got a fun bit of trivia there. Originally, Robert Kirkman wanted J.K. Simmons to voice Cecil. And J.K. Simmons, I think, came back with how about I voice Omni-Man? And he was like, and they agreed upon that, and obviously got another killer actor to voice them.
I always love, I've been seeing a lot of clips of like them in the booth, JK Simmons and Steven Yeun, especially during the fight scene, and then their eventual reconnection in season 2. And I love watching it so much. And usually in these videos they'll play, the clip from the show, and then you'll see them in the booth on top.
Love it.
And I don't know, so like seeing them actually there together. They're into it.
I was going to ask, are they in the same room?
I think they're
acting together.
I think they're in separate booths, but they are like looking at each other.
Cool. I love that, because I mean, so often you'll have with voice acting, and it makes sense, is everybody's completely separate. They're scheduled on different days. You have somebody record the base of the conversation, and then the next person is just going to respond to that. But
and maybe that's go ahead.
Whenever you have voice acting where people are actually in the same room, Fantastic Mr. Fox did it a really incredible way, where they're actually not recording in booths at all. They're going to like similar spots. So if they're in like a kitchen in Fantastic Mr. Fox, they went and actually recorded the voice acting in the kitchen. Cool. If they're outside, they're actually outside. I think that elevates it. Not only does it elevate the sound, because you don't have to create all of the room tone and all of the atmosphere and the echo, because it's just there. But any form that you can do of that, and especially in a super intense emotional conversation like Mark and Nolan are going to be having, if they can actually act off of each other, then, Steven Yeun's delivery on "I'd still have you, Dad," is like, yeah, that shit hits hard.
Yeah, voice
really
acting
good.
and
I like
live acting are two very different skill sets. I think it's partially good casting and knowing who's capable of doing both, but there's also no doubt that everyone steps up to the plate and nails it once they're there.
Yeah. Quick side note for issue 13. I like the spectrum of light that everybody who drinks tap water can't see.
Yeah.
They drug the whole world so that they can so that their secret base can be secret should somebody get into it. It's like, I mean, just I assume they use it for other things too, like they would just like shine a light on, but like, how much do you need to even hide from the world when they're constantly dealing with alien invasions? They're constantly dealing with like the most horrible shit, like finding out Superman is evil and wanted to take over the entire world. It's like, you guys are drugging everybody for some bullshit. Like, just let the people know, Cecil. And then, yeah, that issue wraps up with Alan coming to warn Mark that his planet has been tagged for Viltrumite takeover. They kind of sit down on the moon and chat it through, and he's like, yeah, I already know Viltrumite's coming, and my dad is...
He said, oh boy, do I.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I already know. And I love that last page of that issue, that volume. He's like, so what are you going to do now? And he's like, finish high school, I guess.
What else is there to do?
It's really good. So you have the aliens coming back that die because of the atmosphere. They age like super quickly, or
quite
whatever.
The oversight on their part.
Yeah, for sure. And just having the wristbands to fix it that are so easily destructible.
Yes, them having a different time dilation than us, and them saying it's taken them centuries to get here, only for this to fail so spectacularly, is very fun and makes me wonder how many more centuries or thousands of years might pass before the next time we see them.
Yeah, I love how that whole thing is handled in the show, and we get to see Omni-Man being like pretty intensely evil in the show. Obviously he's already off planet at this point.
We saw a moment of that in the issues we read last episode. Isn't that where we would have seen that? Him going through their portal and messing.
He does, but we don't see him really do anything, I don't think.
He just
know that.
Yeah,
I know in the show he.
In the comics,
he does 10,000 9/11s.
Yeah.
In
the comics,
as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
He just disappears, and there's a bit of time with Mark and Debbie where they're not certain if he'll be home tonight, and it seems to be more nights in a row than expected. And then one night he just shows back up for dinner and is like, "Well, I was held as a prisoner in a camp for many, many years until I led a rebellion and escaped. Anyway, how was your day? Could you pass the salt?"
It's again one of those things that I'm sure he could take another look at and order in a different way to be able to show us more and kind of have basically that reveal that Omni-Man probably didn't lead a nice rebellion for other prisoners on that planet, and that he just went and killed them all.
It's an opportunity to reveal more character. Go for it.
I know. I was gonna say the same. I remember feeling in the show, because that's kind of the one evil thing you see in between him killing the Guardians of the Globe and the fight with Mark at the end, as you see him go through that portal and, as you said, do 10,000 9/11s, and you're like, that's a lot of 9/11s.
Yeah,
I thought one was bad.
Yeah.
No wonder they mourned this for centuries and spent their entire lifespans on end preparing for an invasion that would very quickly end because of one oversight.
That issue, you also get William starting to date Eve.
Good old Billy Bob.
Good old
that
Billy
was crazy.
Bob.
I did not see that coming.
Me either.
Does that happen in the show? Oh no, because he's gay from the start in the show. Yeah.
Yep. Amber's trying to connect with Mark, of course, like we talked about earlier. She kisses the person that she likes, and he seems to question what's happening before making an excuse to get out of that situation as quickly as possible.
Yeah, okay. This was my big note on issue 14. Mark's drunk mom, Debbie, blaming him for not being with Nolan.
Wild.
Bro, I was like, what a fucking dickhead. Like, what a complete loser. That honestly, like, pisses me off so much. And I don't, a lot of people feel different types of way about, like, what you accept as, like, drunk behavior. It's like, they're just drunk and they're just having a hard time. I don't accept that as drunk behavior. And I think if I was Mark, I would not have forgiven her nearly as quickly. I'd be like, yeah, you're awful and gross. And next time I'll just let your husband kill you and everybody you know and your whole planet. Like, you ungrateful bastard.
I could have helped like he wanted.
I could have just killed you. How about I just killed you?
Well, I
should have just killed you, Mom.
Think that is like a scarring and cutting comment that I don't know I would have ever been able to forget. To me, the reason it works is partially because of how simple Debbie had been previously portrayed. Like, I haven't started rewatching season 2 of the show, but I don't remember this type of like alcohol bender from Debbie previously. And all we've really gotten of her in the comics so far is my husband and son going to be late for dinner, dutiful housewife. And to me, you really see that, like, hey, if it seemed like those two men were her entire world and this family was what she valued and put her entire like self-worth into, that has just imploded and it is gone. And she is substituting that by drinking until she passes out in random places. And no, I certainly don't think that's healthy, and certainly don't think it's an excuse to say things that will scar your son. But I think it's the type of thing you think and never should say out loud. And in a moment of being completely broken and altered, you say the thing that you have running in your mind that you shouldn't, and it just finds its escape.
Yeah, I didn't even find that it didn't work. Like, I totally agree with everything you're saying. I did just have such a reaction to it. Like, I think we probably all did. But I agree, it was nice to see something out of Debbie other than come eat my meatloaf.
Yeah, no, I like it for the story. I like that it's being done, and that Debbie is actually getting more depth and more character to her in the comics. And it is also like quite realistic. At the same time, it does make me like her less. Like, it's like, not only do we not get these moments early on where she's shown to be like a really strong woman and a really like capable, intelligent person who has her own work to do and will give Mark really good lessons on what sort of man he wants to be. You don't get any of that. You just get Meatloaf Mom. It's unfortunate that you have a depthless character, and now instead of now you just have a mean character, and it's like, oh, yeah, she's got depth.
It's almost like if TV
awful.
show Debbie, like it's almost like if TV show Debbie had said that, it would have been more interesting because you have these other really great qualities to balance her out, and yeah. even if in the show she wasn't so like strong and capable and intelligent and this like other than like larger than life person, like, you know, I don't want to talk bad about Meatloaf Moms, like, hey, you know, they make the world go round, but she has no, like, there's no sense of, I don't know, even just like the loving nature that Debbie has or any of it. It is just so one note, her character.
Feels like the pendulum was really far on one end and it swung all the way to the other end, and one fell swoop.
I'm glad that they did it overall. I'm glad that they went that route and are having her have an alcoholic bout. I think that it's super interesting. It makes me feel bad for Mark. It makes me feel bad for her. And it is very realistic. Also, just Mark's ability to forgive her so quickly. It's like, I haven't let go of shit my parents said or did that was like way less bad.
Way less like, bad and way long ago.
Yeah. So my mom told me that I was bad at singing and laughed at me for my singing when I was like 12, and I still give her crap about it. I'm like, oh, just you terrible musician, son. Like, you can't stand him singing. He has no rhythm. And she's like, I never said that. She goes, I laughed at you singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Like, and I'm like, it scarred me.
So yes, yeah. Her comment to Mark, even if he's able or willing to forgive, I still think I would wake up at the age of 45 in a cold sweat, having relived that nightmare over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so moving on, issue 15.
Finally, the issue we've all been waiting for.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, sorry. Introduce our sexy fish one more time.
Yeah, baby.
Son,
is that
issue 15.
Oh,
issue
yeah, that
15.
is what we're on.
The long-awaited.
Sexy fish. Bro. Oh, man, I'm stoked. Okay, so we'll skip through this other shit real quick. You got Monster Girl in her 30s. She can't date other people because she looks like a child.
I will say I did want to touch on that moment because I do way prefer how they handle it in the show. And here she is saying that she's interested in people and is very much like shamed very quickly and being told like, hey, you're making people uncomfortable, knock it off. Where the show has someone make a comment about her, and then it opens up a conversation with her and Robot where they empathize about the difficulties of having powers and either having empathy and being a robot, or having a mature mind and life experience, but not having the body for that. And I certainly appreciate calling out how her dating in a child's body is handled as a moment of empathy versus, hey, 8-year-old, please stop hitting on all the men. It's very creepy.
Yeah, I found that very weird. They're like, you gotta stop making passes at these dudes. Like, you gotta.
Yeah, I mean, the way that she's handling it is weird, but I think, Connor, you were saying the way that, like, Robot handles it, the way that he's, like, not,
It's
like,
all
empathy
weird.
forward. The whole
Yes,
thing is
it's
weird.
all weird. She is more aggressive than she should be, and Robot like does kind of sound like he like is very unempathetic by not listening to what is very fair rationale that she's much older than she looks. And I think it's a moment of like awkward divisiveness on both ends that serves nobody.
Yeah.
Where using this as an opportunity to be like, hey, these superpowers can be weird and fuck up your life, and can't we bond over that and empathize over the way this
Because
challenges our social experience?
If I remember correctly, the comics will do a little more of that, I think.
okay, so I know
It'll
in the
get a
show
yeah.
she very much is given the time to express her frustration that all of the normal, well-adjusted adult men that she correctly wants to date don't want to date her, and that the only
Yeah.
men who do want to date her should be locked in jail.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
And which, yeah, that would be a conundrum.
Yeah, brutal existence. Not yeah, not fun. Not fun to read, not fun to talk about either. Moving on. Things are getting tough with Amber. That's again all that we're really getting from Amber is that she's sad that Mark can't stay for dinner.
Yes, and in the show we would see her more
Aren't you
stand
gonna
up
Aren't you
for
gonna come eat
herself.
some of your mom's meatloaf?
It has tears baked into it now. It's it's now a whiskey meatloaf. You might have noticed the bottle spilled.
Yeah, just Amber and Debbie sitting there together waiting for Mark to come home.
Which I don't know if that's I don't know if I think it happens in this issue. I didn't have it written, but we're seeing Debbie slip deeper into the alcoholism, where he kind of gives her a look after seeing the two bottles in the trash, and she's like, "I am the parent. Like, you're not allowed to give me looks like that." And I'm like, "Man, you suck, Debbie. Like, he can give you a little look. You should be showing some sort of like shame or embarrassment and have like empathy for your son. Like, he's having like the worst experience ever, just like you, and now he's having an additional terrible parent experience. It's like, my dad is abusive and evil, and because of that, my mom's an alcoholic. It's not a good situation for him, and it leaves me very little empathy for Debbie.
I've been rewatching the Apple TV show Shrinking with my partner Haley, and it is about Jason Segel's main character having his wife pass away in a drunk driving accident, and we meet him in the pilot with him with prostitutes in his backyard snorting cocaine as his daughter is moved in with a neighbor next door because he has totally gone off the deep end and gone on a giant bender in response to his partner dying or and being gone. And so I certainly was connecting with this material in a different way because I'm watching a show all about someone pulling themselves out of the gutter and having to reckon with that, like, maybe I did sever my relationship with my 17-year-old daughter forever. Who's to say?
Yeah, I did watch. I have watched that too. But Jason Segel is a lot more empathetic and easier for me to vibe with. He
Absolutely.
And also, like, I don't know. And again, I'm interested to see where this alcoholic Debbie arc goes. Like, it definitely could end up being more of like a shrinking situation where it's just leaving something nice. It's just leading to a redemption arc for her. I do fear a little bit that it's going to be like a couple of panels of her being like, "Hey, I figured that out. I apologize.
Anywho,
I made dinner."
Yes,
I
Go ahead.
in Shrinking, do we get much time of him in his his terrible depression.
Pretty much just
like,
that first episode, some
right.
flashbacks. Yeah.
Maybe it's because we're getting a lot of it with Debbie.
Yes,
And we
yeah,
haven't
pretty much
gotten
every
to
issue.
we haven't gotten to the I'm
redemption.
sorry part
Yep.
yet.
And the Debbie from the show is so revered that I keep being like, "All right, get there, have that breakthrough, be that wise anchor." And I hope we get there, but we certainly have not gotten there yet.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no, but
I was promised sexy fish.
Sexy
let's
fish.
get to it. That's where I'm at now. That's where I'm at now. So I'll set this up because Aquarius, what's his name?
Aquarius.
Because Aquarius was killed by Omni-Man, and they have a tradition of basically like an alpha male situation, and Omni-Man has left, Mark, per tradition of the fish people, has to now marry their queen. And so he is sent down to Atlantis to marry her. But it only gets worse from there.
What's marriage without public consummation of that marriage?
There we go. Yeah. So yeah,
you got to do it in front of everyone.
Yeah, not only does he have to marry her, he has to beat a giant beast in front of everybody and like save her.
That's the easy part.
That's the easy part. Invincible definitely would have no problem with that. But he also has to lose his virginity to this fish, which I thought it was hilarious that Cecil gives him shit for that.
Cecil really works him a new one.
He's like,
"You're a virgin, dude?
Really, kid?"
He's like, "Dude, I just turned 18."
He doesn't,
and he's like, "Yeah, all right, whatever."
Maybe if he was around Amber for longer than 30 seconds, he could get something going, but he keeps fleeing as soon as he sees her.
So now he's just got to screw a fish.
While wearing a wedding dress.
We get... Yeah, they also... It's like as humiliating as possible. And honestly, man... They should have put this in the show. I'm kind of pissed that it's not in the show. That would have been a great episode.
Just make it like the opener before we get to the title card. Like a fight, a tight 10 minutes of him being told that he has to go down here, being put in the dress, doing the fight, and then having to get out of the public... I'm sorry, I just looked at the issue and I saw the queen in a bikini and I went, this is too much.
Yeah.
I was mid-sentence and I lost focus at the fish in a bikini, so it is a little too gratuitous.
Bro,
cancel the pitch. No.
Bro, the fish lady in general is just like... But yeah, we just get a giant-breasted, giant-lipped, bikinied up woman laying there, ready to sleep with Mark. I love this story of how they get out of it, and I love the images of her suitor, her assistant guy, who's basically just a servant, and he's just so distraught that Mark is going to get to marry this fish woman that he has fallen in love with and has pined for we're to assume years and years and years. And then Mark figures out how to get him out of it. He makes it look like the fish man was the one who beat the giant monster, and that Mark turned into a scared little baby. So obviously not suitable to be the new king. I love the whole thing. I don't want to stop talking about it, but that is pretty much where it ends.
Yeah. I was like, keep going. This should be a whole volume.
Exactly.
I also loved when Cecil first brings it up to him. I forget exactly what he says, but he's essentially like, we can't piss off the ocean. Like, you gotta
the ocean's too powerful
down there and do this. And he's like, we'll figure it out, like I promise, and no one is figuring it out.
Yeah, he's like, you're still down there? He's like, I figured our legal team would have figured it out. And he's like, well, we'll figure it out. When is the marriage? He's like, today. And also I have to have sex with her. He's like, ah, shit.
If we
All right, you little loser virgin, we'll keep working.
if we have to move on, then we can. But I think we should take this opportunity to officially announce that while we cover 2 volumes an episode, we will also have a new spin-off show in which we read this issue and discuss it for an hour every week. So don't you worry, issue 15 is not going anywhere. We're going to make sure to discuss the intricacies of every panel every week right here.
Yeah, perfect. Let's see here.
The final page of this issue is our boy Willie Williamson once again proving that he's really only friends with or in relationships with people with superheroes just so he can get a quick flight in. As Adam Eve takes him for a ride one more time.
And more of the homophobia.
And more...
She also is like, this is gay.
In 2004 or 5 when this came out, no one is safe from calling things gay.
I feel like that's, knowing what we know, that's gotta hurt poor William's feelings. He's like, yeah, it's a little gay, but what's wrong with that? Yeah, everybody, and also like, yeah, it does feel kind of like Eve should. It makes sense for like the guy relationship. Especially in 2003, for him to be like, "Oh, this is so gay. I gotta carry my bro around for a flight." But it seems like Eve should be using it as an opportunity to be like cute and nice and like build a better relationship.
William.
She doesn't like him at all.
She hates him.
She's already over him, and it's just begun.
She's frustrated that Mark isn't jealous yet.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, this plan is not working at all.
I would never have to carry Mark. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, all right. She's like, Mark's not even here to see this. Let me fly this gay boy around. Issue 16, super short. Not much happens. He takes out Furnace Man.
Yes, I felt lucky that I had bought the volume of this versus reading my compendium, because I was out at a wedding whenever I was reading these and wanted to do it digitally, because my compendium didn't actually include this little story, which I think I read. I don't know if it was Free Comic Book Day or if it was a different type of like Comic Blitz event, but this was considered like a canon issue that you could skip out on if you were only picking up the numbered issues, and kind of because it's only a few pages, really is him fighting one person and then going to the principal's office and them kind of summarizing where we're at in the story so that if you picked up next month's issue, you were relatively caught up.
Nice. That makes me like the issue more. It's definitely like way shorter and seemed kind of odd to be its own issue. But yeah, that makes sense. They do all sorts of little like promotions and different things like that. Like it feels like the sort of issue that would end up in like a Scholastic book fair or something like that.
Exactly.
For like mega cheap. Yeah. But yeah, then the principal is on his ass. I love that page. That was one of my favorite pages in what we've read, where he's like, yeah, car crash, and then he's just imagining his dad beating the ever living shit out of him. Mm-hmm. Things are still shitty with Amber is my only other note on that issue.
What? But they were going so well. There was so much goodness to hold this thing together. It certainly hasn't felt thin from the start.
Issue 17, we're getting into new dimensions. We've got it opening with Mark and evil Omni-Man. Well, I guess evil Mark and Omni-Man.
Normal Omni-Man.
And normal Omni-Man.
Classic Omni-Man.
In another dimension. And what we're seeing is Mark not defending Earth when Omni-Man told him that he's there to destroy it, when his dad told him that they're there to destroy it. You're getting if Mark was gung-ho for that and didn't give a shit.
If Omni-Man was better at giving speeches, then maybe this is how Mark would have responded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which it does feel like there's something like inherently different about Mark in this. Like he just does seem like he's evil, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I also kind of like that they show this because it's very clear to us as the audience now that it was always pretty clear, but without seeing Omni-Man like destroy the world like we do in the show, this does very much show cut and dry that it would not be a peaceful takeover, that it would not be like, we're just going to share our new tech with you and give your, give your government's advice. It's like, we're going to kill a ton of people, and it's going to be really, really bad, and nobody should I don't know where
You
I was going with
promised
that
us
sentence.
free Wi-Fi and healthcare. This sucks. I mean, well, and actually, I like these interdimensional scenes because our Mark is the one that is inherently different. Mark is evil in, I think, essentially every single other dimension.
Nice. The new Guardians are not doing nearly as well, so Cecil fires Robot and puts the Immortal in charge. Hello, Kitty.
Hi, Benny. Thanks for hanging. Would you like to be on our podcast?
Dude,
You can hang out. He has.
honestly, when I was reading that, it felt good. I was like, dude, an AI losing his job to a human? Like, hell yeah. I love that.
Must be 2005.
Yeah. I wish that was me.
I loved this line. So we're getting a decent date, which is, I think this is when he comes home and sees Debbie just, being a sad bummer alcoholic.
Classic Debbie.
Classic Debbie.
Gotta love her. Gotta love her.
Classic Debbie. But I love the line, Mark is like offended that Amber didn't like the end of the movie. And she's like, geez, Mark, you act like you made the movie. And I'm like, I've been there. I've been there, Mark. I'm like, how could you not like this? This is personally offensive to me. It's horrible. It's a sign that you have bad character.
I've certainly never been on the other end of a movie opinion from you, Zeb. So I have no idea how rigorous those debates could get.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
One of these days, we'll accidentally devolve into a long discussion.
I know. Had I not watched Superman again and changed my opinion on it, we
might have been last week.
Yeah, at some point. Well, I guess we got into it a little bit with Korra, but you didn't seem to feel like we were too off base there, even though you liked it more than we did.
Yes,
we can talk about Star Wars Episode 8.
Perfect. Yes, just what we need. If there was more of a natural build-in, maybe, but we're now just plucking at topics that will lead to long discourse.
I was joking. We don't have 5 hours.
We
don't have 5 hours.
No, I certainly agree.
For the audience at home, Connor and I are oftentimes at odds with our opinions on media, and at some point we're just going to have to tear into each other.
If we're together with all of our friends, there's a coin toss chance that at some point Zeb and I will be in a corner 90 minutes into a discussion of some nerdy ass movie.
And 90 minutes is not the end of the discussion. Like we're barely getting started.
That's when I grab my legal pad and start taking notes.
I was going to say, you guys will have just laid your frameworks by then.
Yeah, we just made sure all of our definitions are the same.
Absolutely, just clarified our terms
to work with.
We make sure in 90 minutes that we watch the same movie, and then we get into it. And sometimes 3 hours later, it still doesn't seem like we watched the same movie, but we swear we did.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know what the fuck you watched, but it wasn't what I watched. I also love the bit. I think this is the stuff that I really connected with and really loved the fantasy aspect of when I was a kid reading these comics and, imagining myself in high school. Mark throwing his graduation cap way too high.
Yep.
He flings it up and it just shoots.
I like that image a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so perfect.
It's very simple, but
you really just
does feel climactic, or like it's putting a good bow on the high school chapter.
That was certainly my fantasy in middle school. Didn't end up happening, but I don't know. Maybe I'll be a superhero in my 30s.
I'm gonna say, you didn't get superpowers?
Did you guys get superpowers?
Did you not?
Yeah, I did for a little while.
Oh,
No.
yeah. It was a good 6 months, but
If I found out that like a lot of the world, like if I existed in this world where so many people had superpowers and I didn't, man, that would suck. I always think about that when it comes to like people being like, oh, I really wish I could live in like a fantasy world. Like I wish I could be in, I wish I could go to Hogwarts. And it's like, I think most people would still be like their loser selves, even if they were in another dimension.
Yeah. You wish
It's
you were
like,
a wizard at Hogwarts.
yes.
yeah, and not only do you wish you were a wizard at Hogwarts, you wish you were a wizard at Hogwarts that's like friends with Harry Potter,
Oh, yeah.
But really, you would just be
You just want to be Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like in any of these big, beautiful fantasy worlds, you'd just be like a peasant.
Yeah. Hanging out in New York in the
you'd
Marvel
just be a muggle.
Universe would be awful if you didn't have powers, because you would just be waiting for destruction to rain down upon you 5 times a day on any random city block. You would just be the most susceptible to death you've ever been, and if it happens, it won't make the cut because it's too gratuitous. Like, it's it's never a good position to be in. But if you had powers, then, or cool enough powers to be relevant to the Avengers, then all of a sudden it's a great universe to be in.
I'd take being a villain even though.
Yeah. I think
I
that's
mean,
just because you're generally a bad person.
Is being a villain more about like what you become when you go to the universe, or more of what you do with the skills and powers that you have? Because I think anyone could be a villain, and that's
I guess that's true.
you could be rich and have no powers and be a villain, and you could also have the same powers as a hero and be a villain. That's just a a choice.
Given the choice of being a regular guy who dies while going to the bodega because the Hulk comes crashing down, or being a villain, I'd probably pick a villain.
Yeah, and if you had those powers,
I mean,
I'd be like, why not use them for good? And you'd be like, it was that or death. I either was smashed or I became a millionaire stealing from the poor. It was one or the other.
Yeah.
This lines up perfectly with who Doug has chosen to be in this life.
Yeah, of course.
He's evil here. He just doesn't have superpowers, so we don't see much of it.
You all better watch out if I did.
I gotta pee real quick. Give me 1 second, boys.
Make it a good one.
Dude, guy can't even hold his pee. No wonder he doesn't have any superpowers.
That's what you got to do.
And then we've got the Mars mission, which I like the setup for the evil squids and why they can't take over the Martians, but they've like been using them as a slave race to do all of their bidding and like made them stronger. And that
dude, I'm kind of on the squid side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pissed at that freaking Martian who decided he wanted a free trip over to Earth.
Dude, I don't like him. I don't like him as a character. I don't like him in the show. I don't find him funny. I don't find him endearing. I don't find him charming. I don't like him.
I don't remember him in the show. I think we're getting even more into stuff that I haven't seen. But yeah, what a prick. What he's really set up everybody for failure.
If he's on the screen, I'm waiting for him to get off the screen.
Yeah, I definitely am not the most engaged by that. Like, I find the Mars mission interesting overall, and then once it's over, I'm like, can it be done now? Or can it
Mm-hmm.
not have lingering
Mm-hmm.
effects that I need to worry about? It's a perfect little one-off adventure or episode.
Yeah, I know we're gonna get much more squid though, much more evil
Oh
squids
yeah,
trying to take
it
over
gets it
everybody.
gets squiddy.
Yeah, sure, it becomes a big problem for everybody. You got Eve finally breaking up with William, so that he can become his true self,
Mm-hmm.
and fully bloom and prosper as a gay man, which
Yep.
will.
Wait,
Uh,
William eventually is gay in the comics?
yeah, spoilers. I had to look this up to
Oh no,
see if I
that's
was
okay.
wrong.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I think I talked about it last episode where I couldn't remember. I thought I remembered him eventually coming out, and actually, since we're talking about it, I think they deliberately just didn't go with that route because they felt like it had been seen so many times now. Like there's so
Mm.
many good stories where there's a character that has to come out as
Mm-hmm.
gay,
Mm-hmm.
but they felt it had kind of been
Oh,
done to death, and so just
I'm
making William
excited
gay
to
from the get go.
I'm excited to read that. Does Amber come out as black?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, and in the show she comes out as white. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay, okay.
Not a
Wow.
lot for
she
her
has
to
like a
do
Michael
post,
Jackson
yeah,
thing.
post breakup.
I have written. I don't remember exactly what he does, but I've got poor Amber getting shit on by Mark.
Oh yeah, isn't he? He just says. I mean, he just makes excuses that he's not punctual or something, and then
Yeah,
his
I think
beeper
he's just
goes
like,
off
I'm not.
again.
He's like, I'm not always late, and then he gets the beeper and he just sprints off again. And it's
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
like, damn,
He
dude,
also says maybe we can do
you're
something tomorrow, right before he heads off to his Mars mission and learns he'll be gone for 2 straight weeks. She's like in the midst of being like, hey, things aren't well. And he's like, yeah. Hold that thought. I got a page. Oh, see you tomorrow. And then we learn he will not be back for 14 days.
what I remember as a youngster feeling heartbroken by was I was really ready for Titan to excuse me, was really ready for Titan to turn a new leaf and become a good guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I really liked that arc. But unfortunately, the way that the bulk of issue 20 goes is that he has set up Mark to help him kill and distract and destroy the head of the main crime
Good
boss
old
in this
machine
world,
head.
which is a great name, and I I love all of these characters. I really
Mm-hmm.
like Titan. I love all of the superpowers. I really love whoever the lava guy is,
Yes.
accidentally burning through the hole, burning a hole into the ground as soon as the
Oh
action gets
yeah.
started.
Mag Maniac. Our whole
Mag
crew, we
Maniac.
have Battle Beast, Magnatak, who seems to be like a magnet based guy. We have Kursk, who's the
Yeah,
electric power. Furnace, who we saw in the free comic book day issue. Mag Maniac, and Tether Tyrant.
Quite
and
the quite the lineup.
did you
I
say Battle? What was his name?
Battle
He said Battle
Beast,
Beast.
Battle
who
Yeah.
I
Beast.
think
Battle Beast is
and I
awesome.
think Battle Beast just a couple years ago ended up getting a spin-off comic that takes place during like in between some of the issues in Invincible that he appears in. So he
Oh,
doesn't
I'll have to
get
check that. Dude,
a
I love
doesn't
Battle
get a ton
Beast.
here,
Me
but
too.
seemingly is a character they've extrapolated on. Although I have not seen that myself.
Yeah, I love Battle Beast. He seems awesome. I love that he is just ripping them apart. Anybody that comes
Mm-hmm.
near him, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "What the fuck am I doing here? Like, this is pointless." And yeah,
And
he's
he
definitely.
doesn't in the comics. I just can't remember off the top of my head. He doesn't like nearly kill Mark like he does in the show, right? Or does he?
Oh, they. Nah, I don't know if it's specifically Battle Beast. No, Battle Beast gets him. Yeah, Battle Beast actually hits him like 3 times, and I don't think
Okay.
Mark is nearly killed, but he is like
In the show, I remember that being another like long recovery
Yeah,
time
he's
for Mark because he.
incapacitated and goes back to Cecil at the Pentagon.
But yeah, Battle Beast's whole vibe. I'm all about it.
yeah, he's got like the Predator lore. It seems like his main mission is just to find worthy opponents that might be able to actually fight him and kill him. Um, yeah, super cool, really cool design. They continue to kill it with the designs. I love the. I mean, it's kind of dumb powers, but also kind of awesome. The like bubblegum guy, who just like shoots out elastic pink bands out of his chest.
Yes, the
Really great.
tether man or tether fella. Yeah, he's great. Reminds me of a DC character I love named Ragman, who just has magic rags that come out and suffocate people, which is very silly and very badass.
So yeah, Guardians come in and save him, and then we find out that it was all a ruse, and Titan was not turning a new leaf, trying to take down the crime boss. He was trying to become the head of the crime boss. And he looks sick as hell in that suit with his rock body.
Sure does.
And that's it.
And that's volume 4.
That's
some good volumes.
a couple extra bits of trivia, although I think I said most of them as we were going along. Way back in the day, this was meant to be a live action adaptation, was originally what they were going for. So it was going to be a live action movie made by Paramount, which I think is funny because I think it's a strong likelihood that Zack Snyder at that time would have been the main choice.
As we discussed last episode, yes.
Yeah, I think it totally would have been him had they gotten far enough in there. I mean, he was doing Watchmen. He was doing 300. I don't know. He was like the golden boy for a while, where they really wanted him to pick up and do like every comic book ever.
I'm so glad it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen was a much better voice for this one.
No, oh yeah. I mean, not even just the Zack Snyder of it all. Just I don't know. I honestly sometimes prioritize watching animated shows more than live action. I mean, I feel like there's less of them, less at a really high quality, like adult animated series that I really enjoy. So when there is a good one, I usually love it.
A fun one that I noticed in the art, the original images, or the behind the scenes art in the back of the volumes. The original drawings for Eve, she had like very prominent freckles.
Oh, interesting.
I wish they had kept that. I think she like looks a little more unique and looks more like there's even been complaints about how a lot of the art in Invincible, the women look the same. They've got the same lips and nose and chin and bodies and everything.
Release the freckle cut.
So I'm actually painstakingly going through and photoshopping every single panel and giving her freckles. Yes.
Trying to bring back.
You're going into the source images and redoing all of the women, Zeb, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I prefer to imagine Zeb in the middle of a Barnes and Noble with like a red pen, just kind of going through every image of Adam Eve and having one or two little dots.
Fixing all of the women.
Exactly. I'm almost done. I gotta fix them. Get me another coffee. I'll be here 4 more hours.
They're almost perfect.
Yeah. I'm really gonna fix them all up, make them look exactly how I want them to look.
This would have been a successful series.
Yeah, if they just let me decide what all the women should look like,
they would have never had to push up Omni-Man's reveal.
Bro, and yeah, exactly, yeah, and quit giving them flaws. Debbie having flaws. She's got problems. No. I really don't fuck with that.
Boring or wise? Choose one. Certainly not boring and then awful.
I mean, that I actually agree with. Like, yeah, that's just like Debbie. Debbie genuinely sucks. This is not looking good for me though. Cora sucks. Debbie sucks. And they need to fix Eve's face.
I just resonate with Jason Segel so much more than Debbie. I don't know why. I can't quite put my finger on why. I really connect with Jason Segel's problems, but with Debbie, it's just stupid fucking bullshit.
It just makes her seem so unlikable. She's got that angry face. Why, dude? Why does she always look so angry, bro?
I'm pretty sure men drink their feelings away, not women. Not women at all.
Yeah, and like when Aang makes mistakes, I'm there for
He's
it.
just a silly little
Korra
kid.
makes mistakes.
You're the
Yeah, I mean,
Avatar. You should know better.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about before we hop off? Any other problems with the women in Invincible?
No other complaints about the women in Invincible, but
we can talk about the problems with the men too. I just probably disagree.
Yes, I enjoyed these issues. Obviously, Volume 3, I think, has one of the most exciting, especially early arcs in the show. So that was really exciting to read through. Volume 4 has a lot of very interesting one-off stories, even if I don't think they quite have the impact of Volume 3. It fleshes out the world, and it gives us some sexy fish and some cool Mars action, and that is still exciting from, weekly or not weekly, but monthly comic issues to be providing these fun insular stories.
Thanks so much for watching and talking and commenting and liking, and we love Invincible.
Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up.